Our story begins with a celebration. It was the wedding of Peleus, a mortal king, and Thetis, a beautiful sea nymph. It was the social event of the century. Every god, goddess, and deity from Mount Olympus to the depths of the ocean was invited. Zeus was there, Poseidon was there, even the Fates attended. The wine flowed, the music played, and the laughter of the immortals filled the air. But there was one goddess who was deliberately left off the guest list. Her name was Eris. She was the goddess of discord, strife, and chaos. The organizers of the wedding thought, who wants discord at a wedding? So they shut the doors on her. But you cannot simply shut out chaos. By excluding her, they insulted her, and an insulted goddess is the most dangerous force in the universe. Eris did not storm the gates with an army. She didn't scream or curse. She simply stood at the doorway and tossed a single object into the middle of the banquet hall. It was a golden apple, a perfect, shining fruit from the garden of the Hesperides. As it rolled across the floor and came to a stop, the music died down. The gods leaned in to see. Carved into the skin of the apple was a single phrase in Greek, Kallisti, to the fairest. It was a trap, a brilliant psychological trap. Immediately, every goddess in the room thought the apple was for her. But as the lesser deities stepped back, three powerful queens stepped forward, each claiming the apple belonged to them alone. The first was Hera, the queen of gods, wife of Zeus. She claimed the apple by right of her status and majesty. The second was Athena, the goddess of wisdom and war. She claimed it by right of her brilliance and strength. The third was Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty. She claimed it simply because, well, she was beauty itself. The argument grew heated. The wedding was ruined. They turned to Zeus, the king of gods, and demanded he choose. Husband, father, king, tell us, who is the fairest? Zeus, despite all his power, was not stupid. He knew this was a no-win situation. If he chose Hera, the others would hate him. If he chose Aphrodite, his wife would never let him sleep in peace. So he deflected. I cannot choose, he lied. But there is a mortal shepherd on Mount Ida who has an eye for beauty. Let him decide. The shepherd was named Paris. He was actually a prince of Troy who had been abandoned at birth due to a bad omen, but he didn't know that yet. He was just a young man living a simple life until three goddesses descended from the sky in all their terrifying glory. They presented him with the apple and the question, who is the fairest? Paris, trembling, couldn't decide based on looks alone, for all three were blindingly beautiful. So the goddesses began to bribe him. Hera stepped forward. Choose me, and I will make you the high king of all Europe and Asia. You will have power beyond measure. Athena stepped forward. Choose me, and I will give you wisdom and skill in war. You will never lose a battle. Aphrodite stepped forward, loosened her robes, and whispered, choose me, and I will give you the most beautiful woman in the world. Paris was young. He didn't care about politics, and he didn't care about war. But he was a man, and his heart desired love. Without hesitation, he handed the golden apple to Aphrodite. Hera and Athena flew away in a rage, swearing eternal hatred against Paris and his city Troy. Aphrodite smiled and promised to deliver her prize. The problem was, the most beautiful woman in the world was Helen of Sparta, and Helen was already married to King Menelaus. This didn't matter to Aphrodite. She led Paris to Sparta, cast a spell of infatuation, or perhaps it was true love, over Helen, and the two lovers fled across the sea back to Troy.
When Menelaus found his wife gone, he didn't just get angry, he called upon a blood oath. Years ago, all the kings of Greece had sworn to protect Helen's husband, whoever he might be. The beacons were lit. The kings gathered. Agamemnon, Achilles, Odysseus, Ajax, the greatest assembly of heroes the world had ever seen. They launched 1,000 ships to sail across the Aegean Sea. They were coming for Helen, and they would burn Troy to the ground to get her back. All of this because of one apple. Because one goddess was not invited to a party. Eris had her revenge. She had created the greatest discord the world would ever know.